And guys, remember, after the scores and final rating section of the review, I give you guys recommendations. So if you do, in fact, enjoy Honeydew, I have 3 fresh recommendations for extremely well-made, slow-burn horror movies that I think you'll enjoy. So stay tuned to the end for those recommendations. Now on with the show. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Justin here. Thank you for clicking on this video. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Before we jump into my thoughts on Honeydew, this insane movie that is Honeydew, I want to let you guys know that moving forward, I'm going to be doing 2 movie reviews every single week for sure, Monday and Thursday. Monday's review is going to be a new or newish movie, and Thursday's movies will be throwback movies, 80s, 90s classics, sometimes some indie gems, some B movies, something like that. And you guys are going to be choosing those Thursday throwback movies. I'm going to be holding polls on my community tab and my Instagram stories. If you guys want to vote on both, vote more than once, that's totally fine. These votes will be held on Saturdays. I'll give the results on Sundays, and that review will be posted the following Thursday. I kicked it off this week by giving you guys the chance to choose between Prehysteria and The Gate. You guys chose The Gate, so that will be coming up this Thursday. But if by chance your movie loses, don't worry, it has another chance. I'll be putting the loser that week up against another movie the following week, and it has one more chance to win. So next week, Prehysteria will be going up against another classic movie. So if you want to see Prehysteria, vote for it. I thought this would be a fun way to bring everybody in, keep the community involved, and keep the conversation going, because like I always say, it's not just me talking about movies, it's us talking about movies. So I hope that's fun for you guys. Like I said, voting will be on Saturdays on my Instagram stories and my community tab. I'll give the results Sunday, and that throwback review will be posted on Thursday. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I wanted to find a new fun way to get everybody involved in the channel. I hope you enjoyed that. Now on to my review of Honeydew. So Honeydew from 2020 is actually the feature film debut from director Devro Milburn. Before this, he had done some shorts and some music video, but this is his first feature film. He wrote, directed, and edited this film. Don't let the pretty sounding name of this movie fool you, because this movie is insane. This is a slow burn horror film, and slow burn horror films can be one of the most difficult and challenging subgenres for directors, because you're building tension, you're building suspense, usually by just simply minimal character interactions, all those little things that build up and gain your trust that you're not wasting your time. If you're gonna spend an hour and a half to 2 hours with usually a small amount of characters and a really minimal setting, usually little to no set pieces or action, sometimes minimal gore, you better make good on the promise that the reveal at the end of the movie is going to be worth it. And Honeydew makes good on their promise, and I promise the ending reveal at the end of this movie is worth your time. Now, although the basic skeleton and the bones of this premise is not something that we've never seen before, it more than makes up for it with extremely unique cinematography, brilliant score and sound design, great performances, a cameo that will sort of blow your mind, and a third act that is insane and will definitely stick with you long after this movie turns off. So Honeydew follows the story of aspiring actor Sam and his botanist girlfriend Riley. They travel to rural New England to investigate an outbreak of a fungus called sortico that has been devastating local farms. So this fungus that they're traveling to this New England town to investigate is called sortico. It's actually a fictional fungus, but it is based on real events. It's based on a real fungus called Ergot, which devastated farms back in the day and actually causes these insane hallucinations and gangrene and all these insane side effects. I actually linked an article below that tells the story of this 1951 farm town where this fungus outbreak happened and caused many people to go insane. It's a really insane story. I went ahead and linked that below in case you want to check it out. So they're traveling to this town, and like many stories like this, their car breaks down and they're forced to take refuge in a tent in this field that ends up being the private property of some guy who tells them to get the hell out. They then make their way to this secluded farmhouse where this super creepy old lady lets them in, and then the shenanigans of Honeydew begin. So the basic premise and the bones of this story is not anything we haven't seen before. A couple breaks down, they're forced to seek refuge in a desolate house, and some creepy lady answers the door, and there's all kinds kinds of weird happenings inside of the house. We've seen that before, but what sets this story apart is the super unique way that this story is told. Through the clever use of split screen techniques, incredible score and sound design. A lot of the score is made by these weird like mouth noises and found objects and unrecognizable instrumentation. It's really, really creepy and makes you feel really uneasy. And also the performances. The performances in this movie are absolutely insane. So from the minute this young couple sets foot in this house, it's glaringly obvious that this is a situation that they probably should immediately remove themselves from due to the bizarre way that this lady and her son is acting. The fact that her son has this bandage around his head, seems to go into these epileptic convulsions, and has an oozing wound on the side of his face that's continuously bleeding. If it was me, I would have got the hell out of there immediately, but that's not how these movies work. And if there is a critique that I can bring early into this review, it is the fact that, like with a lot of these type of movies, opportunities present themselves for the people involved in the situation to remove themselves, and they choose not to. Once they realize that they're not going to be able to get their car fixed in time, they decide they're going to stay the night, and they go deep down into the basement to this spare bedroom, which is the bedroom that has been offered up to them. And from then on, things just get super, super creepy. And like I said, the use of split screen and the use of unique storytelling is really what makes this stand out. Somebody will be in the kitchen interacting with this creepy ass lady, and then it'll split to show the other person snooping through cabinets and looking in the medicine cabinet, and the sense of dread just builds by this weird soundtrack. One thing to mention in this movie is a lot of it centers around food. A lot of the themes in this movie sort of reminded me of Hansel and Gretel in a way. The Sam character recently has been sort of pushed into veganism or raw eating by his girlfriend. As soon as they're invited into this house, the lady is pushing all this food on him, like cupcakes and meats and all this crazy shit that doesn't look appetizing, by the way, but he is addicted to it. So I think that's a lot of the reason that he doesn't want to leave. He hasn't had any sort of like sugar or meat or fat or anything like this in like over a year, and this lady is pushing him all these massive plates of food and cupcakes and all this shit, and to which one point in this super tense scene, he actually sneaks down in the middle of the night and is just gorging on all of this food, and his little feast is cut short in a super tense scene when the guy with the bandage around his head comes down and sits down at the table with him, and you don't quite know what's going to happen. The movie is filled with these super tense scenes that are often feel really confrontational, but you really don't know what is going on. That's one of the ways that the slow burn works in this movie, because constantly you're wondering, what is wrong with this lady? What is wrong with this dude with the bandages around his head? What the hell happened to him? And you're just forced to kind of follow this movie through and hope that it gives you the answers, and in the end it definitely does. I'm not going to spoil anything about the third act because it is really interesting. This movie very easily could have fallen into the usual like crazy religious cult dogmatic like religious zealot type tropes where they're using religion to inflict pain on people or whatever, and it really doesn't do that. There's a whole nother element that I'm not even talking about, that I'm not even going to tell you about, that causes these characters to do what they do. So it's not like they're just mindless sociopaths doing the shit that happens in the last third act of this film. So if you're a fan of the slow burn horror genre, you like creepy, moody movies, you will absolutely love this. And there's a little bit of body horror thrown in this too. Like I said, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's a crazy cameo at the end, and there's some crazy body horror that happens at the end of this movie that'll blow you away. At least I hope it does. I'm recommending this movie in hopes that you enjoy it. So let's get in my ratings and final scores, and then I'm going to also give some recommendations. If you did enjoy Honeydew, I have some movies that I think you'll dig as well. So for story and performances, that's really where this movie shines, in the performances and the odd story turns that this movie takes. I'm going to give the story and performances 7.5. And for the technical aspects of the movie, the cinematography is absolutely beautiful. As I was talking about the split screen earlier in the movie, that can be overdone, but it's done in a really unique way in here. It really gives you two different perspectives a lot of the times about what's actually happening at different points in the movie. It's really interesting. And also, I cannot stress enough, the sound design and the score in this movie is absolutely incredible. If they ever release like a vinyl version of the score, I will definitely be picking this one up. As far as the technical aspects of this movie, I'm giving it an 8. And for the gore score, there's honestly not a lot of gore in here. I'm going to give it a 5 because there is some brutal moments, but it's pretty middle of the road. You're not watching this movie for the gore, you're watching it for the reveal and the suspense. So the gore is really not that high, but as far as my overall rewatchability score, this is getting a hard 8. I will definitely be picking this one up on Blu-ray as soon as I can. I highly recommend Honeydew. It's a fantastic slow burn horror movie. I think you guys will really dig it. And admittedly, there's probably 1 or 2 scenes that could have been trimmed down a little bit. The movie could have been a little bit more compact. It's a little long, but at the end, in my opinion, it did pay off. Now let's get into the recommendation section of the review. If you did dig Honeydew, I think you'll dig these movies. The first up for my recommendations is House of the Devil. This movie is incredible. It's directed by Ty West. It perfectly encapsulates the late 70s, early 80s feel, throwback feel as far as the cinematography and the kind of storytelling of those late 70s, early 80s horror films about a girl who goes to babysit for this family, this really odd husband and wife, to babysit their kid while they go out for the evening. And I'm not going to spoil anything about this movie, but basically the movie, you just spend time with this young babysitter as insane things unfold, and it is a very well-made slow burn horror movie. The next recommendation that I'm going to highly recommend you guys check out if you dug Honeydew is the movie from a few years back, Gretel and Hansel. This movie is amazing, and it is absolutely beautiful to look at. Not only is it tension filled and it's suspenseful and has some decent gore stuff and just a creepy atmosphere, the movie is just beautifully shot. It looks incredible. It's by the director who did The Black Coat's Daughter, which is my next recommendation. The Black Coat's Daughter, if you have not seen it, it is an absolutely incredible slow burn movie about these 2 girls at a kind of a girls' Catholic school kind of a deal. I'm not sure, like a girls' academy, and their parents don't show up to pick them up for winter vacation. They're stuck there and things do not go well. It goes insane. Please watch The Black Coat's Daughter. It's incredible. Those are my 3 recommendations for top tier slow burn horror. When it comes to slow burn horror, those are about as good as you're going to get from modern slow burn, I think. And that's all I got for today's review. And remember, you guys can vote on my next throwback review next Saturday on my Instagram stories and my community tab. I'll start that vote next Saturday, announce the winner on Sunday. You guys will be voting between Prehysteria and another movie I have right here that will be revealed when the voting kicks off next Saturday. So good luck. I hope your movie wins, and I think we're done here. That's all I got, guys. Stay weird. Always remember to be yourself, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
I love movies. Gosh, I love movies. I love watching them, and I love making them.